Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and you are listening to another episode of the world famous The University of the Best podcast in one, two, three galaxies. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I was just calling the show on Marketing Moves, and we're coming to you live today. Today is Sunday, July the. Let me see, hold on. The 20th. It's July the 20th. Today we are doing a special episode. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror or them in the mirror, whichever one you want to go with. Whichever one you want to go with. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to only talk about us. We're going to talk about you, me. We're only going to discuss what we can do to improve this. Listen. You want to be the very best. Listen, we are not doing this podcast because we want to be unheard of. We are not doing this podcast because, you know, we are not. Ladies and gents, let's all be honest with each other. A lot of times, this is what people would do. Okay, people they will want to start something, whether it be a YouTube channel, whether it be a podcast, or whether it be a business. You want to start a brick and mortar business, And people will say when things are not going, things start off slow, as most things do. A lot of things start off slow, and people will say, "Oh, I don't care about money. I don't care about you know fortune. I don't care about fame. Blah 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 blah." Ladies and gentlemen, those are all lies. Okay, listen. Everybody everybody has the human desire to start something and see it grow and see it blossom and get as big as it can get. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. Why? If you start a YouTube channel, clearly you want somebody to see you, correct? Of course. You start a podcast, you clearly want somebody to see you, correct? Correct. You start a business, you start a brick and mortar business. You're not trying to hide in the corner. You clearly want people to see that you have a business. It doesn't matter if you do law, it doesn't matter if you do accounting. They have places that you can go that you could be a lawyer, you could be in the back of the building. You can take your clients. You can go to court with them or do whatever, and you know, punch out at 5 o'clock. But clearly, when you want to be the main attraction, when you want to run your own business, clearly you want to be out in front, and clearly you want to make as much money as possible. We're not talking greed. We're not talking, you know, uh, we're not talking any of that. A lot of times people they like they like to try to, oh man, these people they're greedy. They're billionaires. They're greedy. Maybe, maybe not. But everybody starts off when you want to run something. We all have the intention of you know getting the most out of the situation. Okay, it's just the way it is. To say, oh, I don't want to be, I'm not really like a fan. Lies, okay, lies. I've had to, you know, get over that part, because now we're going into another phase of this show, and not to get on me, but the reason why I bring this up is because I was thinking one day, the show's going humming along, but I'm like, no, I want more out of this show. We are not doing a podcast. We are not hooking up to a machine to talk to myself. Okay, I am hooking up a machine to talk to more and more people to find an audience. To look for an audience, seek an audience. Find people. And all that. You know, this is what we're looking for. We're looking to make money. We're not running a 501c. Although people in 501c's make plenty of money, but that's neither here nor there, ladies and gents. We are here to discuss us. What do you want to do? There are things that you can do. There are there are things that you could do to uh, attract more people into your business, into your audience, into your channel, into your stream, into your whatever, your books that you write. You are looking for an audience, and the moment that you realize, hey, it's okay to want to make as much money as possible. It's okay to say, hey, I want. It's okay to say, I want this. The moment that you free yourself from saying, hey, I want to make money, you're gonna be a-okay. Okay, ladies and gents, I want to be dot. If you want some type of fame, go for it. If you want to make plenty of money, go for it. If you want, your business to grow and bloom, and you want your business to be as big as Bloomingdale's, go for it. What I'm telling you is, free yourself from the idea. You don't always have to play it cool. That's all I'm saying. You don't always have to sit in the back and be like, no, I don't care if I want. I don't care what happens. You care, okay? The more that I do this podcast, ladies and gents, I care. I really care. It's to the point now where I'm like, this is mine. Every day I'm thinking, all right, let's turn up the heat. Let's go. We don't want just a few downloads, 100 downloads. We're looking for thousands, ten upon 10,000s downloads. That's what you're looking for. I'm looking for when I say, hey, new podcast, in the first hour, 100 people, 200 people, 300 people download automatically. That's that's what I'm looking for. And the moment that I told myself that, like, hey man, it's okay if you want to make money from a podcast. It's okay. That's when I, you know, say, hey man, let's go. We don't have to be too cool for school all the time. You don't have to be either. Okay, look in the mirror. You say, hey, this is what I want. This is what we're gonna do, and there's nothing that's gonna stop us. Okay, you say all that, and you get going. You don't wait. You don't hesitate. You don't. You know. You don't. It doesn't matter. You you get up. You get up to the plate. You ever play baseball? Listen, at one point in time, I was a big time baseball. Okay, you get up to the plate. You ever get up to the? You ever? Let me tell you something about baseball. Baseball. Sometimes you go up against somebody and you go, oh man, this is easy, easy. Okay, but you go up against somebody and they throw 'em fast. I remember when I was a kid. It was this kid. He was like a year older than me, and I remember he was he played little league. He was big. Okay, he was a big fella. And I just remember I was in the sixth grade. He was going into the seventh grade, but his birthday was he just made the cut so he could play little league, and he was big. And I remember, in my 12-year-old mind, he threw like 100 miles an hour, and I just remember stepping up to the plate, swinging. I hit the ball. Of course, it was foul. My hands were hurting. I said, you know what? We we gonna keep on swinging, okay? So I got a little hit, a little number, and it didn't do much. But the point was, I got up there and I was swinging. And then on the reverse end, this guy, I was a pitcher. Yeah, I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't Nolan Ryan. Like, it's okay. I was not Nolan Ryan. I used to throw one of the slowest balls in that little league. That ball was, but for some odd reason, I don't know, I was effective. But I remember this. I remember I was not worried about anybody except for this kid. This kid got up, you know, and I was like, "Oh my god, he gonna tattoo the balls." Okay, this kid, I threw him a ball. It was a ball or whatever. I threw him one good one. Oh, he rocked it. Okay, he rocked that ball. I remember he tried to do an inside the park home run on me. Okay, this is and I'm just going to tell you the story. And and there was no when I played baseball. I played so much baseball. I don't care who. I don't care. I had no fear about you know no fear. So this guy he rocked the ball, and it was he was running towards home, and I remember I went down and I was like, I gotta be here because the catcher had to go somewhere. In baseball it's a whole thing. I don't have time to explain it, but this kid he was big, and back then I was like 5'5". Probably barely weighed 100. I don't even think I weighed 100 pounds then. Nope. So just imagine a kid. This kid was like 6 foot, something like that, and I know he had to weigh all of 150 pounds. So it was 150 pounds, 160 pounds, something like that. I just know he was a big old boy. And I remember he was barreling down from third base. They threw me the ball, and I was like, I am not going to move. And I saw him coming, and he was coming like a bull. And I said, I am not moving. And it was a play at the plate. Boom! He hit me. Ladies and gentlemen, he hit me so hard. And the only thing I knew, the only thing I knew, no matter what you do in the game of baseball, play at the plate, you hold on to the ball. That's the only thing I kept telling myself. Hold on to the ball, baby. Hold on to the ball. I held on to the ball. I heard outs. And I was like, woo! Ladies and gentlemen, tell you something. This man sprained my thumb so bad, but it did not matter. None of that mattered because I stood there, took the brunt, boom, got up. He was out. Great play. That's it. We still lost, but it don't matter. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, there is something that you want to do. There is something that you want to do. People, all this BS about hiding your face and oh, you just a small content creator. And listen, how big do you want to get? How far do you want to go? Who do you want to talk to? Now we all know, ladies and gentlemen, you're better off trying to find an audience. You're not. Most people these days, you're not gonna get a billion people. I know this, and you know this. But what you're looking for a strong. You want a strong piece of the market. You want a strong audience. Okay, I know this, and you know this. And the more that you admit that, and the more that you own up to that, and the more that you look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Hey, this is what I want, and this is how we're gonna get it," the better off you will be. Do not worry about do not worry about people. Do not worry about things. Do not worry. It doesn't matter if you're in. It does not matter if you're in Los Angeles, California. It does not matter if you're on Rosecrans Boulevard in San Diego. It does. It does not matter if you're on Semo Drive in New Madrid, Missouri. It does not matter if you're on 129th in Harlem. It does not matter where you're at. It does not matter who you are. If you really want to do this, if you really want to start that business, if you really want to, create the content, be a streamer, be a gamer, be a whatever, however, whoever, whatever you want to be. If you want to be it, go do it. There's no excuse. There's no, don't worry about being cool. Don't worry about trying to play it cool. Don't, if it happens, it happens. No, man, you want it to happen. We all want it to happen. I haven't done 900 some episodes for giggles. I want something to happen. I want to make money from the podcast. That's it. I want to make money from a website. That's it. I want to do other things. The faster you say that, the better off you will be. And now this week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to dive more into the. We're going to get away from the because I wrote this article in Medium, and I just wanted to say I'm sick of talking about pop culture. I don't care about the WNBA. I don't care about I don't care about celebrities. I don't care about you know, Sydney Sweeney and Bathwater and all this kind of stuff. We're going to talk marketing. We're going to talk about all of that stuff, but we can do it in a way where we don't have to focus on celebrities and all this. And we got to do more interviews, and we are going to do better with the show, because I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but after a while, you got to go with what you want to talk about, not what do you think is gonna what do you think is gonna be popular, you know? And that's a lesson. We will dive into things that work and things that don't work. We will talk about that later on this week. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow with all. Oh yes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I am listening to. We used to talk about books on the show. I am listening to a great book right now by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's called FDR by Gene Edward Smith. It's a very good book. It's a look into now FDR. You know, I listen to other books. Walt Disney, he had to get it out the muddy mud. Uh, Steve Jobs, he was adopted. He had to get it. He had to get it out. He got it from the mud. Now I'm telling you this because a lot of times people think, oh, nepo baby or nepotism, blah blah blah. It's not a bad thing. If you have a daughter and you start off on second base, that's okay. If you got a son and they start off on second base, it's perfectly fine. Listen, who no listen. LeBron, he got Bronny off the he got Bronny start on second base. He went to USC. LeBron had some pool. He got him a shot with the Lakers. Bron is a good athlete. Whether he becomes a top notch basketball player, who knows? Who cares? He's in the league. He has a chance. That's all you're looking for. Franklin and FDR, he had he came from money, so he started off ahead of you and I. Okay, and of course it don't hurt that he had a cousin that was very popular in the politics, Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, and so FDR, he still became one of the best presidents according to history ever. And so I'd say all this to say it's a great book. It's a different way to start off. Everybody. I know a lot of people like to say, "Man, you gotta get it out the mud." But do you have to? I didn't. You don't have to always. You don't always have to bootstrap everything. Okay, if you got the money and you can start something, by all means, do that. Okay, it, it's a okay. I was just thinking about that before I got out the program. It just goes to show you, FDR just goes to show you, everything ain't gotta be from the bottom. Okay. He started off, he had money to go to Harvard, he had an in, he got to be of the assistant secretary of the Navy, you know. And so sometimes connections help, sometimes money helps. It don't hurt. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that but it's a good book though. It's very interesting. It's always interesting to learn about presidents and history, and it's always cool to learn about, you know, different people and how they start. And then sometimes they give you inspiration. Some people you connect to, some people you will not. It's just the way it is. But you have to listen to books. You have to read books, listen to books, however phrase you want to call it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to read books or listen to books. But for me, I'd rather read a book or listen to a book than watch a bunch of people on YouTube, because I'm on YouTube and you know, you just trying to get as many views as possible on YouTube. It's entertaining. You're gonna learn a little bit, but mostly you add on sugar to the recipe. You know what I'm saying? You trying to entertain. You're trying to entertain more than anything. But anyway, ladies and gents, we'll be back tomorrow with all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizano. Thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. And as always, everybody, peace.